This is an MJA Inc. Investigations warning. This MJA podcast is rated E for explicit. Some details of a case and language used on this podcast might be upsetting to some of our listeners. Listeners' discretion is advised. And for those who are still with us, kick back and enjoy the show. Welcome to our MJ podcast. This series, Deep into the Woods, Episode 6, Part 6, 12 John Doe's. In the United States, there are over 40,000 sets of remains that are unidentified. That is, males and females combined. Even though there have been advances in tools used to identify John and Jane Doe's, the numbers are just overwhelming. MJ has learned the best websites to use to investigate John and Jane Doe cases, and those are the Doe Network, NamUs, and state police websites. Even though this is our best system, there are still some major drawbacks. The Doe Network enters cases a few years after their discovery. The cases have to be so old before they are entered. NamUs is and can be in real time, but there are so many cases that the NamUs databank entries are behind. State police websites sometimes don't enter every case in their state. This is the best system we have at this time, and the system needs to be improved. In my opinion, these three systems need to be updated to make case entries in real time. In most cases, when a John or Jane Doe are discovered, they are usually victims of a homicide. In return, if you don't know the victim's name or know where they are from, it's hard to solve their murder. Meaning, tens of thousands of people are getting away with murder. Just think about it. Let it sink in for a moment. Tens of thousands of people are getting away with murder. Good evening. My name is Mark, and I will be your host for tonight's show. Joining me later will be our co-host, Olivia. We will profile 12 John Doe cases. We are coming to you from Winter Paradise, located in Hudson, Florida, on the Gulf of Mexico. 12 John Doe's. Welcome to Arizona. Case 1. On March 11, 1996, the skeletal remains of a man was discovered on a hillside outside of Williams, Arizona. Case 2. On October 1st, 1998, the decomposing body of a man was discovered in a desert area near Tucson, Arizona. Welcome to California. Case 3. On February 5th, 1973, the body of a white male was found nude in Wilmington, California. Case 4. On September 1st, 1989, a white or Hispanic body of a male was discovered on Sheldon Road in Sacramento, California. Welcome to Colorado. Case 5. On July 11th or 12th of 1997, the decomposing body of a white male was discovered at an industrial area of northern Fort Collins, Colorado. Case 6. On September 8, 2004, the remains of a white male was discovered at a campsite in the White River National Forest located in Flat Tops, Colorado. Welcome to Florida. Case 7. On April 26, 1980, the unidentified white male was found dead in a motel room with another victim, Jack Roy Davis, in St. Petersburg, Florida. Case 8. On March 25, 1982, a white male was killed himself, went unidentified in Palm Bay, Florida. Welcome to Georgia. Case 9. On November 20th, 1984, a black male was hit by a vehicle and the John Doe was taken to the hospital, where John Doe died several weeks later in an Atlanta, Georgia hospital. Case 10. On March 5th, 1991, the partial skeletal remains of a white male were discovered in a woods behind a shopping center located in Marietta, Georgia. Welcome to Illinois. Case 11. On December 27, 1978, a white male was discovered in a crawl space located in the home of John Wayne Gacy in Norwood Park Township, Illinois. Case 12. On April 22, 1998, the remains of a black male was discovered in a remote area behind a truck stop located in DuPage Township, Illinois. Let's take a pause for the cause, and when we return, Olivia will be on the line to help profile 12 John Doe cases. Be back in a moment. Welcome to our MJ podcast, this series, Deep into the Woods, Episode 6, Part 6, 12 John Doe's. We have our co-host, Olivia, on the line. How are you doing on this fine evening?
Doing well. A little chilly outside.
Okay, are you ready to dig into these unsolved mysteries?
Yep.
Okay. The Doe Network has 170 John Does listed as being discovered in the state of Arizona. Case 1. Welcome to Williams, Arizona. On March 11th, 1996, skeletal remains of a male was discovered by a rancher on the hillside in the National Forest outside of Williams, Arizona. John Doe is a white male with the estimated age of 45 to 55 years of age. State of remains not recognizable, near complete or complete skeleton, and the cause of death is unknown. Estimated date of death was 3 years before being discovered. On March 11, 1996, during a controlled local burn, a rancher found skeletal remains on the hillside in Cabby National Forest, about 3 miles northwest of the Welch Interchange on I-40 west of Williams, Arizona. John Doe was believed to be a transient and didn't have any identification. No apparent trauma was found on the remains. If you have any info concerning this John Doe, please contact the Coconino County Medical Examiner at 928-679-8775.
Case 2. Welcome to Tucson, Arizona. On October 1, 1998, the decomposing body of a male with a race unknown was discovered in a desert area outside of Tucson, Arizona. John Doe's estimated age is 17 to 23 years old. John Doe's race is unknown, but there were indicators to say the unidentified male could be Hispanic, Native American, Black, or mixed. John Doe's estimated date of death was just days before being discovered. John Doe's state of remains were decomposed. The cause of death was ruled homicide by gunshot wound. The John Doe was located by city water surveyors in a desert area under a mesquite tree about 300 yards north of 2 roads. John Doe had been shot numerous times in the torso with a .38 semi-auto. The investigation revealed the homicide victim was transported to the location in a vehicle and shot several times about 25 yards north of the body's final resting location. John Doe appeared to have staggered from the area after being shot and ended up falling near a tree. If you have any info concerning this John Doe, please contact the Pima County Medical Examiner's Office at 520-724-8600.
The Doe Network has 466 John Does listed as being discovered in the state of California. Case 3. Welcome to Wilmington, California. On February 5, 1973, the body of a white male was found nude in Wilmington, California. John Doe's estimated age is 17 to 25 years old, with the estimated date of death being 1 to 2 days before being discovered. Jane Doe's state of remains was recognizable face, and the cause of death was homicide by strangulation. John Doe was found nude in a ditch beside the Terminal Island Freeway at the Pacific Coast Highway. John Doe is believed to be a victim of the serial killer Randy Kraft. Kraft kept a scoreboard of his victims, one of which was referred to as Wilmington. The unidentified male had been sodomized with a brown sock, which the suspect commonly did to his victims. At least 2 other Kraft victims remain unidentified. Almost 20 more remained uncovered. Kraft killed up to 67 victims between 1971 and 1983. If you have any info concerning this John Doe, please contact the Los Angeles County Coroner's Office at 323-343-0512.
Case 4. Welcome to Sacramento, California. On September 1, 1989, a white or Hispanic body of a male was discovered on Sheldon Road in Sacramento, California. John Doe's estimated age is 20 to 35 years old. John Doe's estimated date of death was just hours before being discovered. The state of the remains of John Doe had a recognizable face, and the cause of death was homicide by gunshot. John Doe was located at Sheldon Road, just west of Bradshaw Road in Sacramento County, California. John Doe had been shot and his body wrapped in a tan comforter printed with jungle cats. John Doe had a plastic bag over his head and a rope tied around his neck and upper legs. If you have any info concerning this John Doe, please contact the Sacramento County Coroner's Office at 916-874-9248.
The Doe Network has 56 John Does listed as being discovered in the state of Colorado. Case 5. Welcome to Fort Collins, Colorado. On July 11th or 12th of 1997, the decomposing body of a white male was discovered at an industrial area of northern Fort Collins, Colorado. John Doe's estimated age is 18 to 30 years old. John Doe's estimated date of death was a week before being discovered. The state of the remains was not recognizable due to decomp and turning to the point of being mummified. John Doe's cause of death is unknown. The John Doe was found deceased in a sleeper cab of an abandoned semi-truck on 2201 Airway Avenue in the industrial area of northern Fort Collins. During the autopsy, no evidence of foul play or trauma, nor evidence of natural causes were found. The John Doe was in a state of partial undress and bondage, which suggested some sort of sexual game that was going on when he died. John Doe was believed to be living at a recent transient lifestyle. Some investigators believe that John Doe's death may have been due to a cardiac event, maybe as a result of using some illicit inhalant such as animal nitrate. If you have any info concerning this John Doe, please contact the Lemire County Medical Examiner's Office at 970-679-4517.
Case 6. Welcome to Flat Tops White River National Forest, Colorado. On September 8th, 2004, the remains of a white male was discovered at a campsite in the White River National Forest located in Flat Tops, Colorado. John Doe's estimated age is 27 to 65 years old. John Doe's estimated date of death is no more than 5 years before being discovered. The state of remains were skeletal, and the cause of death is unknown, maybe even a natural death. Bow hunters discovered the man's skeletal remains inside a tent at a campsite in a remote wooded area north of Glenwood Springs. There were many personal items recovered at the campsite where the remains were discovered, including a handwritten notebook with the victim writing down his last wishes. It was a green pocket-sized spiral notebook with hand-drawn artwork depicting a heart with figures inside, including what appears to be a cat. First page of the notebook is addressed to Lib and begins, "I should write in case my situation here doesn't improve. This may be the end of my journey. Would like for you to claim the body, service as a memorial, cremation." The other notations weren't understandable or made any sense. It was like he was writing he was dying. The notebook and the other personal items recovered never produced the name of the victim. If you have any info concerning this John Doe, please contact Garfield County Sheriff's Office at 970-945-1377, extension 1025.
Let's take a pause for the cause, and when we return, we will profile 6 more John Does. Be back in a moment. Welcome back to our MJ podcast, this series, Deep Into the Woods, Episode 6, Part 6, 12 John Does. The Doe Network has 473 John Does listed as being discovered in the state of Florida. Case 7. Welcome to St. Petersburg, Florida. On April 26, 1980, the unidentified white male was found dead in a motel room with another victim named Jack Roy Davis in St. Petersburg, Florida. John Doe's estimated age is 25 to 40 years old. The estimated date of death was several days before being discovered. The state of remains was John Doe had a recognizable face and the cause of death was homicide. The John Doe was staying in a motel room with a friend. It was the Siesta Motel at 701 34th Street North, room 15. Both men were shot and killed. John Doe's friend was identified as Jack Roy Davis. John Doe was possibly from California, Missouri, or Tennessee. John Doe might have went by the names of John, Johnny, Robert, or Ronald. If anyone has any info concerning this John Doe, please contact the District 6 Medical Examiner's Office at 727-582-6800.
Case 8. Welcome to Palm Bay, Florida. On March 25, 1982, a white male who killed himself went unidentified in Palm Bay, Florida. John Doe's estimated age is 21 to 35 years old. John Doe's estimated date of death was just moments before being located. The state of remains was John Doe had a recognizable face, and the cause of death was being struck by a train. John Doe was located on the afternoon of March 25th, 1982. John Doe committed suicide in Palm Bay, Florida by placing himself across a railroad track just north of Fort Malabar Boulevard. Crew of the southbound Florida East Coast train that struck John Doe told police the man sat alongside the tracks as the train approached. When the crew sounded its warning alarms, John Doe laid across the tracks. John Doe had been in Palm Bay, Millburn area for about 6 months and slept under highway bridges. John Doe was interviewed several times by police and gave different names. The jacket that John Doe had was a Santa Fe equipment company, which was based in Hayward, California. Fingerprint check with FBI and other agencies was not successful. If you have any info concerning this John Doe, please contact the District 18 Brevard County Medical Examiner's Office at 321-633-1981.
The Doe Network has 134 John Does listed as being discovered in the state of Georgia. Case 9. Welcome to Atlanta, Georgia. On November 20th, 1984, a black male was hit by a vehicle and the John Doe was taken to the hospital, where John Doe died several weeks later in the Atlanta, Georgia hospital. John Doe's estimated age was 25 to 40 years old. John Doe's actual date of death hasn't been recorded. The state of the remains were not recognizable from traumatic injuries. John Doe's cause of death is recorded as unknown. The black John Doe was struck by a vehicle and was taken to the hospital. John Doe died several weeks later. John Doe was possibly a suspect in a rape. Hair samples were submitted to the GBI for comparison purposes, but the whereabouts of these are now unknown. Fingerprints were taken and sent to the FBI, but no fingerprint card is in the case file. If you have any info concerning this John Doe, please contact the Atlanta Police Department at 404-546-5602.
Case 10. Welcome to Marietta, Georgia. On March 5th, 1991, the partial skeletal remains of a white male were discovered in the woods behind a shopping center located in Marietta, Georgia. John Doe's estimated age is 40 to 50 years old. John Doe's estimated date of death is mid to late 90s. State of remains are partial skeletal and the cause of death is unknown. The dead John Doe's partial skeleton was located in woods behind the Cobb Place Shopping Center, Wolf Barrett Parkway, west of I-75 in Cobb County, Georgia. Bones were scattered throughout a 12-foot area. Leaf litter and straw had covered the remains somewhat, and sapling trees had started to grow in the chest area. At the time John Doe was discovered, the location was a known place where homeless individuals would live before the land was developed. The white John Doe is thought to have been homeless when he died. If you have any info concerning this John Doe, please contact the Cobb County Medical Examiner at 770-528-2200.
The Doe Network has 43 John Does listed as being found in the state of Illinois. Case 11. Welcome to Norwood Park Township, Illinois. On December 27, 1978, a white female was discovered in a crawl space located at the home of John Wayne Gacy in Norwood Park Township, Illinois. John Doe's estimated age is 17 to 22 years old. John Doe's estimated date of death is 1972 to 1978. Based on witness testimony from the trial about digging trenches and graves, John Doe's death most likely took place from August 6, 1976 to October 5, 1976. The state of remains was not recognizable and was near a complete skeleton, and the cause of death was homicide. John Doe's skeletal remains was located buried in the crawl space of John Wayne Gacy's home. The John Doe was one of 29 victims that were located on Gacy's property. 4 male victims were found in a river, although Gacy confessed to dumping 5 bodies in the river. There are 33 known victims, and 6 of those victims are unidentified, but it is suspected that there may be more. As of 2019, this John Doe and 5 other John Does remain unidentified. Serial killer Gacy was convicted of his crimes and executed in 1994. I never realized that Gacy had so many unidentified victims. You would think, with all the info gathered on Gacy and his brutal crimes, that these John Does would have been identified by now. When you're talking about a twisted monster like Gacy, we may never know about all of his murders. If you have any info concerning this John Doe, please contact the Cook County Medical Examiner's Office at 312-666-0500.
Case 12. Welcome to DuPage Township, Illinois. On April 22, 1998, the remains of a black male was discovered in a remote area behind a truck stop located in DuPage Township, Illinois. John Doe's estimated age is 18 to 24 years old. John Doe's estimated date of death is April 25, 1993 to 1997. The state of remains were not recognizable due to finding partial skeletal parts only, and the cause of death was homicide by a gunshot. The truck driver discovered a human skull in a remote area of the field behind a truck stop in an unincorporated DuPage Township near Bolingbrook, Illinois. Truck stop was located just east of the heavily trafficked intersection of Interstate 55 and Illinois Highway 53. Investigators spent about 10 hours combing through 100 acres of the field of high grass and scrub trees and found about half of a complete skeleton. Officials from the Will County Coroner's Office, Illinois State Police, Will County Sheriff's Department, and Bolingbrook Police Department were involved in the search for additional remains. Police believe the man was shot once in the head and died as a result of the gunshot wound. Evidence indicates possible foul play. If you have any info concerning the John Doe, please contact the Will County Coroner's Office at 815-727-8455.
Olivia, do you have anything you'd like to add to any of these cases?
Yeah, two of them. I remember watching a show about Gacy, the other serial killer. I never saw a show about Gacy. Was he the clown? He dressed up like a clown.
Yeah.
He was a nut.
Yeah.
But he was very personable. You know, I think he was involved in politics and everything. These guys, they're all like normal people, and then that brain shuts down, and then they go into the serial killer stage. You know. But some of these cases, like I said, I'm not a crazy person, but because of my background, my family in law enforcement, and everything, I watch stuff like that on Netflix a lot, and I kind of wonder if some of these, some of these cases did involve a serial killer, and like they just found out who the Zodiac killer was, and we might never know who the killer is because they could be dead by now. But what are your thoughts on that?
On the Zodiac?
God, that a lot of these no, not the Zodiac, but could any of these cases be like a serial killer that had more murders than they ever admitted to, and like a lot of these transients, you never know with them.
Yeah, well, the thing on Gacy, he was married and had a family, and I believe his trigger that he was a in the closet homosexual, and his victims, as far as we know, were all males, and so
weren't they little boys too, young boys?
Yeah, well, I
think
was
that the BTK killer?
No, Gacy. Some of them was 16, 17, 18, looking for looking for jobs. He had a construction company, and that's how he reeled him in.
Yeah, and I remember when they were taking him out of his house. He had him buried in his house and stuff.
Yeah,
bodies.
Yeah, underneath the crawl space of the home. Yeah. Okay, I want to thank Olivia for being on the show tonight. A special thanks to our viewers and listeners for tuning in, for y'all have been so kind. I have a quote for you all. A small spark of hope can ignite large fires. Adolf Font. Always remember, folks, that if you ever get bored with nothing to do, well, take a walk deep into the woods. You might be surprised at what you might find. That's the end of our MJ podcast, the series Deep into the Woods. This has been episode 6, part 6, 12 John Doe's. And we say to all of you, good night from Hudson, Florida.
Once a leader on the ground. things will change. Life